Chair recognizes the gentleman from Arizona, Dr. Gosar.
Thank you very much. Administrator McCarthy, in August 2011, President Obama acknowledged in a letter to Speaker Boehner that 7 new proposed regulations would each cost the economy at least $1 billion annually. In fact, out of those 7, 4 of those regulations were put forth by the EPA. I repeat, 4. How many new regulations has the EPA proposed this year that will cost the economy at least $1 billion annually?
I don't have that figure, sir.
Can you provide those names and those numbers and estimates to the committee? Now, as you know, Congress has repeatedly rejected previous cap and tax energy plans proposed by the President and his big government allies. Knowing he can lawfully enact a carbon tax plan, he can't. He's instructed you to circumvent Congress and oppose these new regulations by fiat. Do you believe the EPA should follow the intent of Congress when implementing new regulations?
I believe that EPA is actually following the law that Congress enacted in a way that we are supposed to implement, and I think that's been confirmed by the Supreme Court every time it's been asked of them relative to carbon pollution.
83%, and so remember that carefully here. And I'm glad you bring that up. So will you return the new waters of the U.S. proposed rule to your agency in order to address the legal, scientific, and economic deficiencies of that proposal?
I'm sorry, was there, I didn't understand
the question.
Let me go.
So citing the Supreme Court again,
yes.
and I want to just give you a little background. The Supreme Court has issued 4 decisions that reinforce the limits of the EPA's jurisdiction in waters of the U.S.
Yes. Yep.
Yet you seem to have another effect that you want to violate this with this current set of rules. So I'm asking you, so will you return the new waters of the U.S. proposed rules to your agencies to address the legal, the scientific, and economic deficiencies of your proposal?
Well, it is out for public comment now, sir, and it was specifically put out in order to address the concerns raised by the Supreme Court in terms of the jurisdiction of the Clean Water Act.
It's been identified legally with economic deficiencies and scientific deficiencies. Yes, it has. There's 4 Supreme Court rulings. You just acknowledged the gentleman from Virginia that the Supreme Court had the rule of the land. There are 4 jurisdictions from the Supreme Court that limit the EPA and its jurisdiction of the waters of the U.S. Will you return it to your agency?
I'm happy to have more discussions about this, sir, but the reason we put out the waters of the U.S. was exactly to address the issues that the Supreme Court has put squarely in front of us.
I don't think that's true.
Okay.
And furthermore, David Sundling, the founding director of the Berkeley Water Center and professor in the College of Natural Resources of the University of California, Berkeley, found major flaws in your agency's economic analysis of waters of the U.S. proposed rule and claimed the errors in the study are so extensive as to render it unusable for determining the true cost of the proposed rule. Once again, does your agency have any plans to correct this flawed economic analysis? When you put stuff out, you have to cede proper information to the public, and you are not.
Certainly, we are in a comment period where we'll take a look at what might that criticism and whether or not it is substantive and how we would address it. We have recently extended the comment period 90 days exactly because we know that there's concerns raised about the proposal, and we want to provide clear public opportunity to comment on this so we can understand the issues that have been raised.
Well, it's interesting that you keep doing that, but you have to provide the public proper information, and this is completely flawed. Now, I got limited time.
Okay.
Your greenhouse gas rule proposed to threaten the close of the Navajo generating station and kill 1,000 jobs in Page, Arizona. Approximately 80% of those positions are good-paying jobs for Native Americans in a very rural area. Besides being a critical employer, the Navajo generating station provides the power that delivers more than 500 billion gallons of Colorado River water to more than 80% of Arizona's population. Do you believe, yes or no, that the Navajo generating station should be closed?
I have no such belief, no.
Okay. Do you share my belief that this power plant is a special situation due to the tribal Indian congressional dialogue trust obligations that were constituted by Congress in directing the construction, the direction, the obligations, water settlements, labor law directives associated with that plant?
My understanding of that plant is it's one of the most complicated situations I've ever had to deal with. So it's fairly unique, yes.
It's very unique because of where it sits on tribal land and the congressional oversight.
Yep.
So it deserves a special attention instead of what it's been getting lately.
Actually, sir, we've been giving it special attention because the proposal that we put out on our Clean Power Plan actually didn't speak to the Navajo generating station. We actually left the tribal units so that we could do a much more extensive analysis.
I understand.
There's only three, one of which is Navajo.
And in the compact, in the trust obligations, the jurisdiction over the tribes and those contracts is this body here, Congress. Have you directed those conversations with Congress as well?
Actually, I don't know what conversations you're referring to. EPA definitely has been given the obligation to regulate pollution from that facility if we feel like it's necessary for public health. We have actually worked through a lot of tough issues with Navajo Generating Station, working with the Navajos, working with the other tribes that have an interest, the Navajo, the Hopi and the Gila River. We've actually worked very closely with the State, Salt River Project. I understand how complicated this issue is. We've worked through some pretty big challenges in creative ways, and I'm sure we can work through this when the time comes. But we have not yet proposed any regulation of carbon pollution from that facility.
I would caution the lady that there's also another jurisdictional aptitude, and this is this body of Congress that oversees the trust obligations of the tribal entities, and that has not occurred. So FYI, include us. I yield back the balance of my time.